This is a short little video to show you how to prepare a pattern for the fitting classes. I'm using a Jessica blazer from Closet Core Patterns to do this. What I have done here is to mark in black the cutting lines for the size I'm using. And I did it just in red up here, and I'll be talking about this area in a moment. I marked the stitching lines measuring in 5/8 of an inch from the cutting lines. And on this, I have the hem lines marked. So these pieces, once we get all the information onto the white paper, we can just put these away. Now, in the next clip, I'm going to talk about this area in here because it's a little bit confusing in the pattern. So I will have a little sidebar on that before we continue. But once we've continued from there, then we're going to look at the sleeves. In this little sidebar, as you can see, the black ink is the cutting line, the red ink is the stitching line. So now what we're wanting to do here is to mark just the stitching lines onto the paper. Now I'm highlighting this particular part of this pattern because it's a little bit confusing. So you can see here I'm indicating the seam allowances on the front and on the side panel. Then what I will ultimately do is take the side panel, overlap it with the front panel, and that will show you how these two go together. So as you can see, the tissue, you can see everything through the tissue, and you match the body seams of the side and the front. Then you want to make sure everything is marked on your paper, and from here on the paper, you will then be able to separate out these two pieces and draft them, tracing them onto white paper. All of this traces onto white paper, and you leave, when you're cutting the paper out, you leave easily 2 inches around the perimeter. Don't cut these pieces out on the stitching lines. Please don't do that. Now you can see here, I'm doing the same thing to the sleeve pieces. Now we're just doing this to the main body pieces right now to alter the pattern. So as before, I've marked the cutting lines in black. I'm measuring in 5/8 of an inch. The red lines are the stitching lines. So then everything traces out onto the paper. Here you have the 3 body pieces. You have the body front, you have the body side panel, and then you have the body back. You can see all of the lines here, stitching lines, any kind of pocket lines, grain lines, all of the information that you need to translate onto the white paper. And as you can see, there's plenty of room around each one of these garment sections. So now we're going to look at the sleeve. And here we have the sleeve copied off the same way. With these pieces, you can cut them out. You can see I've sort of done this on the sleeve. Then you use your tracing paper and carbon to cut out your muslin.